Hello, I'm Katherine Waddell of This Needs to Be Said, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking out time from your schedule to spend it with me as I share with you who I am, what my journey is, and how I got to where I am on today being an entrepreneur. My topic for today is called the diamond in the rough. And if you've ever heard that term before, you would understand it to mean someone who has been overlooked. Their value has not been fully disclosed just by looking at them. That they need to have a little bit of polishing. They need their edges smooth a little bit. They just need to be discovered and uncovered. And if this is you, then our stories definitely connect, and you want to stay here with me in this conversation for the next several minutes. My name is Katherine Waddell. I'm the owner of This Needs to Be Said Media, and what I have turned this radio and television company into is a learning academy. I wanted to be an educator when I graduated college. Well, college wasn't going to be seen for me for several years, if ever, because I had kids at an early age. At 14 and 15 years old, I had 2 boys. So before I even graduated high school, I already had children. So looking forward to what my future was going to look like, there were voices telling me that I wasn't good enough. There were voices telling me that you have to put your kids first, forget about yourself. You can go back to school after the kids are grown up. And we're thinking 18 years. There were voices telling me that, well, since you don't have enough education, I did graduate high school, but by that time you needed more than just a high school diploma to do simple jobs. So I was told that I was going to pretty much struggle. I was shown I was going to struggle because I was always asked, well, have you gone down to apply for food stamps? Are you going to get on Section 8? Have you gotten child care resources? Well, what about any other public assistance? Do you have WIC? Do you have this? And lots of those resources I did use. I didn't know any better. I did the best that I could. The voices were telling me that this was all that was there for me, that this was the life that was meant for me. A diamond in the rough. No one saw my value, or not many people saw my value. And for those who did see my value, they didn't hang around long enough to polish me, nurture me, to smooth out those rough edges. Maybe it was too big of a task for them. Maybe they found something better to do. Maybe they thought they found a dud. It wasn't really a diamond that they saw. Maybe it was just some shiny, clear stone. Who knows? But as time had gone on in my life, I found that people were making decisions for me. I was not one of the voices in my life. I was not making the decisions for me. And I felt that maybe I couldn't be trusted to make decisions. I thought maybe I needed someone there to tell me what I could and couldn't do, since so far I hadn't made good decisions. Maybe I was dating the wrong people, and maybe I had the wrong friends, and maybe I didn't make the right choices. I had kids early, and I didn't go off to college. I knew a girl that lived up the street from me who went off to college, and her parents raised her kid, and somehow the voices said that wasn't a good idea for me to do that. So I had to stick it out, maybe attend community college. Well, okay, I did that for a little while. I didn't graduate. I wanted to work. I wanted to take care of my kids because the voices said that I would always be on public assistance, that I wouldn't be able to do anything better for myself unless I had a man in my life. And that's not necessarily what I wanted to do. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to make better choices, and I wanted to be a great example for my children. But I didn't know how to do that. So I started working. I didn't finish with college. And one day I got a really great job, and I was able to build a house from the ground up. Well, not really knowing, the difference between being a good employee and a good parent, or not the difference, but how to do both, how to be a good mom and be a good employee. I ended up spending much too much time away from work because of discipline issues with my kids in school. And I thought being a good mom, I'll show up at the school because I want them to know that I care. But too much time away from the job says you do good work when you're here, but that's the problem. We need you here. So they let me go. So some friends helped me to find other jobs. They weren't the same pay rate as the job that I lost, but they helped me find other jobs. So I found myself working 2 and 3 jobs at a time sometimes. And I just wore myself out. one of the jobs that one of my friends helped me to get was at a nonprofit organization. And one day after working there a few years, the doctor comes in, and we had heard that he may be retiring, but we didn't know when. Well, he came in, he had a meeting with us that were in the medical office with him, and he says, I won't be back in on tomorrow. Well, here's how that affected me. I was a phlebotomist, a level 1 phlebotomist, and they had paid for me to go to school to become a phlebotomist for the purposes of the missions organization. Well, when the doctor announced he wouldn't be back in tomorrow, that also meant that Katherine wouldn't be back in tomorrow. So what I learned very quickly is that the nonprofit or nonprofits do not pay into unemployment. So I had to think fast. So I didn't have a job and I didn't have unemployment coming to me. Someone has taken my life in their hands again. So do I be a good parent, or do I always go to work? I got let go. I took the training that they offered, but it was time for the doctor to retire. There was not another option within that organization that was going to pay me that same rate of pay. So I was going to take a demotion. What was I going to do? So I had already started a mommy helper's business as a part-time job because it offered me the flexibility that I needed. So I went ahead and expanded that. And what I learned in hindsight is that I had the ability to create the money I needed to take care of my family. I always wanted to do what I was passionate about. And I wasn't necessarily passionate about watching other people's children or doing their shopping or picking up their dry cleaning or even cleaning their house, which is what I mostly ended up doing. But I was passionate about having the opportunity to create it for myself. My destiny was in my hands. Well, I did that for a little while, and then I thought, well, I can do anything I want to do. I want to go back to school. However, going back to school and doing the mommy helper's business was going to be a bit of a challenge. Why? Because I had to be in school at a certain time, and you have to clean people's house at a certain time. But this time, both decisions were in my hands to affect my life. So I said, well, I always wanted to be an educator, so I'm going to go to school. So I let my clients know that I would not be cleaning houses or running errands anymore. That was tough. But I had the opportunity to go back. After 15 long years, I had an opportunity to go back to finish my bachelor's degree in education. Another dilemma came up where I was at the very end. It took 2 years to complete that bachelor's degree. I had some community college credit hours in, so I had 2 years to finish my bachelor's. Well, towards the end of that 2 years, I had to go to my employer with the school system because I did take another job. And I said, listen, I'm, going to become a teacher one day, and I have to do the student teaching. However, the position that you have me in, being a teacher's assistant, won't allow me to be off unless you give me permission to, and I don't know how that's going to work out. And the position I had as a teacher's assistant was the in-school suspension person, so I was the only one who did that job. I didn't rotate out with anyone, and I was just told flat out, you will not get that time off. You can't be off that much. We won't be able to help you. I had a decision to make. Here I am again with my life in someone's hands, telling me that you can't live your passion out. And here's the thing. Schools, colleges have not created a modified program for educators to do their student teaching. So, with that being said, I had to make a decision again. Now, my job was fine. No one disliked me. But I really wanted this bachelor's degree. I really felt like that was going to help me because one of the struggles was I had not finished anything I started. If I felt that way anyway. I wanted more, and I wanted to be a good example for my children, and I was hitting and missing, and I wasn't sure how to do that, so I had to take this chance. So I quit that job, finished my degree, got my bachelor's. I've gone on to complete a master's, and not because someone said I need that to qualify for anything, but I did that. I accomplished those two goals because I wanted to. I put my mind to doing that because I wanted to do that. Now, being an entrepreneur does not require that you have a degree. You do that if you want to. Education is all around you, informal and formal. There's plenty of workshops. There's a small business administration. There's all kinds of classes, online stuff. And I mean, thank goodness for online, Google and YouTube, right? So you can always learn if you want to. So education is everywhere. So going to get a degree has to be something you want to do, not because someone required that you get that. So I experienced having my life in the hands of other people, telling me what I was going to do next as far as employment was concerned. But let me tell you, that wasn't the first time that happened to me. Throughout my life, having kids early, I was told that you're not going to have anything because you have kids. You have those two little people that you have to worry about. That was hard. That was really hard to hear. That was really hard to be handled that way because they didn't always say it, but they did a good job of showing it. Have you ever felt like someone was showing you that you weren't good enough? Have you ever felt that someone was showing you that you don't have enough education, you don't have enough money? And even in my circle of friends, I was tired of being a broke friend, the one that always needed something, the one that was always in a desperate situation. And the process, it's just that, a process. It didn't happen overnight. When I made that decision to leave the school system, that was 6 years ago. So this needs to be said, came shortly thereafter. And as I began to build the business, not quite sure what I'm doing, but I want to do something where I control my destiny. My kids said something to me powerful. I have a total of 3 boys now, but my older 2 are in their 20s now. And so 6 years ago, they were in their early 20s, and they said, well, you know, up until you started your business, we didn't believe you when you told us, do what we're passionate about. Do the thing that's going to cause you to put your feet on the floor in the morning and be excited about it. And I didn't understand why they were saying that. And they said, it's because you weren't doing it. You were going to a job that you didn't like. You were going to a job that you weren't passionate about. And you know what? Even if you're not saying it, you're giving off that energy. You're giving off that vibe. And my kids felt it. They saw it. I wasn't saying it, but I showed them. I wasn't happy and I wasn't living my purpose, and I was suffering through. And of course it comes out in your attitude, because everything you do, you feel like you're scraping by and everybody's just taking from you. Take. So I'd been through not having enough pay on jobs and being evicted, having a foreclosure and a bankruptcy and repossessions and poor relationships. I just felt like I couldn't make a good decision. So certainly going into business by myself or for myself couldn't have been a good decision. Let me tell you, it's been the best decision that I've made. Now, I have determined that there's going to be struggles whether I work for someone or if I work for myself. Because everything that this employer had already done, creating a company culture and HR and making sure those paychecks are on time, they'd already done that. I had to learn how to do that. I had to go and get educated in an informal way because I didn't go to school for business. But the education was there. And if I had known a long time ago to get a mentor and a coach, I would have done that a long time ago. If I would have had to clean their house to get the knowledge they had, so that I wouldn't have to take the long way around this business journey, I would have done it. So ladies, I am here to encourage you that if you are hearing voices that are telling you that you are not a diamond, I want you to know that you are a diamond in the rough. You know that you have value. You know that you improve an environment when you're there. You know that you contribute to your family and your community and to your job. And you need to be recognized for that. Now, I'm not telling you to go in and say, I am woman, hear me roar, and stomp around your place of employment. That's not what I'm saying. Or your company. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to make up your mind, like I did on that last day that I worked with the education system. On that day, I called in and I said, I won't be back. They answered the phone. Hello. I said, this is Miss Waddell. I won't be back. They said, oh, you won't be in Today, no, I won't be back. I'm not coming back. So today, as I tell you that, it sounds bold, but I was a bundle of nerves because I couldn't decide if I should say I'm going to use another sick day or that I'm not coming back. Okay. So I said, I'm not coming back. That was the final straw for me, because I discovered in a few days that being valued on my job, having my voice heard, and feeling appreciated for the work I do. Yes, they were giving me a paycheck, but I wanted to be somewhere where I could make a difference. And I was in the school system. What better place than the school system to make a difference? I brought to them an idea to basically work me out of a job as an in-school suspension person. And they basically told me, just keep them from writing on the wall and keep them from going to sleep. I didn't feel heard. And I knew that I was doing a glorified babysitting job. And it didn't work for me. It didn't help me to become a better person. How do you grow from that? I felt stagnant. So I needed to break free. And as I told you, there were other jobs that someone made a decision for me, whether I got fired or let go. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want someone telling me you couldn't finish your degree because it doesn't work for my company. I needed to feel empowered and inspired. And that's what I want to bring to you on today. Anything that you set your mind to, you can do it. Yes, I left the job and I finished and I got my degree. However, I discovered that the radio platform that I am on with This Needs to Be Said has become my classroom. Why? Because I get the opportunity to educate. That means to pull out of people what's already in them. You don't have to look for a gift. Tap into what's inside of you. Be proud of what that is. And I think one of the voices in your head is telling you the same thing it has told me in the past. That won't make you money. Sure, you're passionate about that. Sure, you really love doing that. Absolutely, people come to you and ask you to do that, but only for free. Nobody will ever pay you to do that. And if they do, it won't be enough for you to pay your bills and for you to live a nice life. Those are lies. Those are lies. With the right people around you, mentors, coach, and the right circle of friends around you, anything you set your mind to, you can do. So sitting on the edge of my bed, calling out forever from that job, I made up my mind. No more will the voices tell me that I'm not a diamond. I may have been a diamond in the rough. I may have been a little sharp around the edges. I may have needed to be polished off a little bit. I may have needed to be cultivated a little bit. But I am no less valuable than the next person. And I will take my place in this entrepreneurial arena and be seen and heard. And now 6 years later, I see the traction. I see where people are being drawn to me because I am my authentic self. I have found out who I am and who I am in my business and who my business serves. I figured that out, but I had help along the way. So having this opportunity to come and share with you about my journey and how I became one of the baddest radio show hosts, it's an extraordinary journey. I've had many nights of crying. Many times I'm asking God, did I make a decision poorly again? But I wouldn't trade nothing for it. If I'm going to struggle, I firmly believe it should be for something that I control in my hands. Now, it's not about an ego and it's not about a power struggle, but it's about creating that culture that you wish a job would have had for you. I wish a job would have heard my voice. I wish a job would have allowed me the flexibility to go back and finish my degree, even though it may have not went in line with their bottom line. I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel like they even tried to figure out a way to help me. Because my goal was to get that degree and become a teacher in the education system. But I found early on that there's not going to be support there for me. And that's not what I needed. I need to feel empowered, safe, supported in a job that I take on. And as I discovered that value, I've taken that with me over the 6 years. And I make sure that when I'm in an environment, it's one that I can help in. And if I can't help, I don't stay. Because I know what happens when you are in a situation where you can't help, you hurt, and it turns out terrible, and you don't want that. So think about what's important to you and how can you get to that. And if you are in a job right now, ask yourself, are my values being displayed here? Am I protected? Am I heard? What's important to you? Find out find out by evaluating yourself if what you need is at that job or the business that you're in. You may need to change the business that you're in so that you are able to feel appreciated and so that you can make the difference that you need to make in this world. Ladies, I'm saying to you, you are enough. You have enough right now. Don't worry about you don't have enough money. You don't have enough whatever kind of resources. I met a lady who was at the homeless shelter, her and her daughter, and she made gift baskets. And that's how she got on her feet. And now her and her daughter have their own place to live. Now, I can give you any stories. You can read any stories out there about women who have overcome. How Kathy Hughes started Radio 1 and she slept in the radio station, her and her son, because they had no place to go. But she wanted her dream to make a difference in her and her son's life so bad that she was willing to be homeless to make it happen. You can go through all of the rags to riches stories and you'll find that people came out. They didn't die. They made it. You have rough days now. So if you fine tune what your passion is and start pursuing it, you're still going to have rough days. But guess what? You're going to feel so much more empowered and inspired because you are doing something that you created, something that's coming from within you. And the bigger thing is you won't have your kids coming to you saying, Ma, I don't want to do what you say. I want to do what you do, because what you're doing is conflicting. You want to make sure that you are practicing what you teach your children. I'm Katherine Waddell of thisneedstobesaid.com. Take out your phones right now. I'm wrapping up. This has been good. I've enjoyed sharing with you. But I want you to take your phone out because I have a special gift for you. Head on over to thisneedstobesaid.com. Grab your free gift. All right. And then also, if you have a story where you're going through, I want to hear from you and I want to encourage you. So leave me a message on the website. Okay. My name is Katherine Waddell of thisneedstobesaid.com, and I'll meet you over at the website. Enjoy the rest of this Womanpreneur 15. Don't you miss anything that's taking place. If you are in person or virtual, this is the place for you to get everything that you need. And when I say get it, somebody is going to tap into you like never before, and you're going to overflow. You're going to overflow. And all I'm challenging you to do is take action on what you discover over the next 2 days. Have a wonderfully super day.